Yo, Thought Warriors. What is up? Hard Learning is on. It's Ivan Lathan Jr.
And it's me, Rachel and Lindsay.
Rachel.
What?
What's going on?
It's early. Let them know. Let them know we're up early. Let them know.
Why? Now, let me ask you a question. Why do we have to let them know we're up early?
Because I look like it's early. Okay, we do a video podcast, and I would like for everybody to know it's early. It's 7 a.m.
I gotta tell you something, man.
Do you?
You people in the younger generation are something else.
We're the same age, Van. Please don't do this.
Nah, that 5 years is a motherfucker. That 5 years is a motherfucker. That's different. The younger generation and how y'all look at something, you little whippersnappers. We're here because we got a job to do. Oh, by the way, before we get into this job, do you care to apologize to the audience?
For what? For what?
They say that you platformed a conservative. Some people blamed me.
I don't do this podcast by myself. And
whoa!
What are the dramatics for? Because that's another reason we got to let people know it's early. Because my patience is thin at 7 in the morning.
So look, see, this is what I'm talking about.
I haven't even finished before you had a dramatic
because that's something. Because that's something that gets me going in the morning. I'm up this morning. You know what I got? You know how I got up this morning? Lady Gaga, Alejandro.
Nice. So I don't know what I'm apologizing for. But if you said platforming a conservative, first off, I'm not going to deny that Anna Marie is my friend. When I said that I don't do this podcast by myself, I'm saying that I alone don't get to force who comes on the podcast. That's a joint decision. But obviously I brought it to the podcast because she's a friend. And, you know, I actually wish we would have gotten more into Anna Marie as a person more than conservative talk. But you and her started an interesting, what I thought too was an interesting conversation. And we've talked about having people with differing thoughts and ideas on this podcast before, whether people agree with it or not. So why am I apologizing? Like, I understand people didn't like what she said. I didn't like everything that she said, but I'm not going to apologize for it. I wish we could have gotten into more of it because there's certain things that either she has said or have been linked to, you know, Marcella's, the things that she's said or agreed with, and we didn't really get into that. We really need a part 2 of the conversation.
Hey,
but
we're gonna guess what, guys? We'll bring her
I'm
back.
not gonna apologize.
How's that sound, guys? We didn't get to everything. We'll bring her back. All right. Well, what we're gonna do is the reason why I laughed is because you said with all the shit that I've taken for Van's problematic friends. As soon as somebody came at you, your first thing was, I don't do this podcast by myself.
Well, then I didn't finish.
And it's hilarious because, like, of all the times people come at me about my friends and whatever, I take it on the chin like a real
you
nigga.
don't. You bring it to the podcast. Like, I don't care. I'm not apologizing.
I bring it to the podcast all the time.
I'm not apologizing.
Bring it to the podcast all the time.
I don't care. She's a friend. I have conservative friends.
Daddy.
And I like having interesting conversations and fleshing these things out. It's like, what do you want me to say? I have.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why.
I said it's not the first friend that's come on the podcast. Former friend that's come on the podcast. So it doesn't. This
breaking news, Playboy. Breaking news, Playboy. Let me tell you why. Number one. It's because
Van just loves this. Van loves when y'all come at me. He loves to see y'all come at me.
No.
You do.
No.
You do.
Let me tell you
Should I read the text? Should I read the text?
Oh, that no.
Loves it.
It's funny. But let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. not over everything. Obviously, there have been things that people have come at you before that I haven't liked at all, and I've obviously said as much. This, though, is different, and the reason why is because I keep trying to remind the people that I so appreciate listening to this podcast. I keep trying to remind them that there's like a gigantic world out there where you simply cannot have a complete and perfect manicured group that you surround yourself with that fit into some kind of ideological bubble. Because number one, the people that you know and the people that you're around, they are going to change. You are going to change. And I think it's interesting that in the tens and tens and tens and tens of hundreds of thousands of people that I know, you bring somebody on and it's like, oh my God, he surrounds himself with all of these types of people. Right. I know a bunch of people and I don't have a resume for an entry point into my life as far as, do you believe in this? Do you believe in that?
Right.
I do have an exit point, but it's not necessarily around differing political opinions, right? It's not necessarily around different political opinions. I don't have any close friends or people that I talk to or go out with that I would consider to be Trump supporters. I just don't think that would work at this point. But I do have people that I would consider that are conservatives.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I've been around for a very long time. I have people like that I consider to be decently close friends that are pretty conservative. And I think that sometimes when we're at odds with the audience, it's mostly because, now look, people that feel like we did not do a good enough job in the interview, that's fine. Because that's what we're here. That's fine. Like people that feel like that, that's fine. But anytime we don't pass the purity test of the audience, that makes me giddy. Because I'm not trying to.
Yeah, same. It doesn't make me giddy, but for me, it's just like, you're supposed to have interesting thought conversations. Like people keep saying they want, like this isn't an echoing chamber at the same time. And we've talked about bringing more, an echo chamber. Echoing? Which one is it? I don't know. Anyways, I mean, we'll bring part 2. If they had an issue with Anna Marie, you're really gonna have an issue with Van's friend, Marcellus.
I've known him for a long time. But I will say this. I didn't know that I mean, it's other stuff we would have to ask Sel about that would be way more controversial than that. So you got to ask him if he comes on. By the way, so
you have to ask what?
I mean, there's some things we'd have to ask Sel about. Yeah,
absolutely. And there were things that we should have asked Anna Marie about that we didn't get to. You know, it was a long conversation, but. Yeah, like
that I love you, boy, hot like Mexico. What you think about that, Gaga? You know that I love you, boy, hot like Mexico.
Oh, is that Alejandro?
Okay. I gotta choose, nothing to lose.
We have to move on. We have to move on because we have a shorter podcast today.
Where's Hootenanny
at? We have to move on because we have a shorter podcast today.
What? Can I ask you a question?
Don't ask me where Hootenanny is.
What's your problem with Hootenanny? For real, I'm not gonna just. Hootenanny is a part of the podcast now. He is. What's your issue?
I'm not gonna acknowledge.
You'll never acknowledge Hootenanny.
No,
you just expect to be acknowledged.
Okay, because we're on the same level. Come on. Let's go.
All right, let's go then. Fuck it. You fuck over Hootenanny. That's the way that you feel. Your childlike aura is gone. You just want to live in a world with rules and all of that stuff. Let's get into the fucking show. Let's do our jobs, right? Because we can't have any. We
I don't find Hootenanny fun.
Yeah, Hootenanny. Yeah, he doesn't find you fun. We've been talking. He wondered, because he just came alive. Hootenanny hasn't been alive very long. He just animated. And so, Hootenanny looked up on on Monday and was like, yo, am I on fucking Fox News? What is this? Like, so Hootenanny didn't know what was going on. Hootenanny probably posted in the Reddit.
Come on, let's go.
We laugh at you.
You know what, though? But the discourse was a lot. You know, for people who didn't like necessarily the guest or some people didn't like the conversation, the discourse, it was a lot. You know, it got y'all talking, which I love. I love to see it.
Oh, daddy. Okay. On the other side of this break, a check-in with the election. How are we feeling? Not great. Let's go. All right. Kamala Harris, CNN Town Hall, Pennsylvania, a couple of different things. She is trying to bring PA home. Bring it home. Okay? Remember the movie, Sesame Street movie, Follow That Bird? Do you remember that movie?
No, never even heard of it.
Donnie, have you ever seen it?
I have, yes. I love the Muppets.
Follow That Bird. You know, Donnie, tell Rachel.
I hate Muppets. I don't like any of that. I don't like any of it. I find them disturbing. I find them all extremely disturbing. I always have, even as a kid.
That's
Fraggle Rock was as close as I got to it, and I still found them disturbing as well. I don't like it.
Hey, Rachel, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Let me tell you something, Rachel. I got to say this, and this is with love that I say this. You are the best version of Rachel Lindsay. Because there is a Rachel Lindsay out there that is so sinister. You hate there's a version of Rachel Lindsay in the multiverse. This is the cuddliest version of Rachel Lindsay. There's a version of Rachel Lindsay in the multiverse that fucking is an animal tester. Like, you hate Muppets. You hate almost everything cuddly and fun. You hate
they're Muppets. They're Muppets.
How can you hate the Muppets?
I just find them, it's weird. I don't like them. I find them disturbing.
We're moving on. Because I don't even want to fucking dwell on this.
There's something freaky about them.
Anyway, in Follow That Bird, Donnie, do you remember what happens to the big bird? He is lost. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's like a road trip movie. He's trying to.
It's a road trip movie. It's very emotional. Trying to bring Big Bird home, and that is what Kamala Harris is trying to do to the state of Pennsylvania. Bring Pennsylvania home. She talked about Donald Trump. She when asked if she thinks Donald Trump is a fascist, Kamala Harris said this.
You've quoted General Milley calling Donald Trump a fascist. You yourself have not used that word to describe him. Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I also believe that the people who know him best on this subject should be trusted.
When she was asked about the economy, she had to say this.
One of my aspects of doing what we need to do to bring down the cost of living for working people and the middle class in America is to address the issue of grocery prices. Part of my background and how I come to it is probably a new approach grounded in a lot of my experiences as a former attorney general, where I took on price gouging. And part of my plan is to create a new approach that is the first time that we will have a national ban on price gouging, which is companies taking advantage of the desperation and need of the American consumer and jacking up prices without any consequence or accountability.
Okay, so the audience was made up of registered Democrats, Republicans, and independents. She reiterated that she was going to be a president for all. And there's been a lot of talk about whether or not the event itself did what she wanted it to do, which was make her final sell to the people of Pennsylvania, which is a very important state for her. Are you nervous about the election, Rachel? We're about 2 weeks away.
I mean, I guess before I even say anything, the first thing you said is that you were. So is it because of something that happened outside of this town hall meeting? Because to me, I mean, I felt like she was who she's been. She answered every question. She didn't change her stance on anything. Where she was questioned on things like the economy. She talked about her plan that she's already put out there before. I mean, maybe on the border, it's the same talking points about the bipartisan bill that they tried to push through earlier this year that was shut down. But are you seeing something else? I'm nervous, period. To answer your question, yes, I'm nervous, period. 2 weeks away, I feel like people's minds are made up. They're either voting Trump, Harris, or they're not at all. But for you to say you're nervous in your intro for this, talking about this town hall, what have you seen? Or what happened in this town hall that makes you think that specifically?
It's not necessarily the town hall. The town hall is based on political bluster. Yeah. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
The reason why my nervousness comes from the fact that I follow polling trends too closely. And I do that because of my anxiety. So if you're following various people on Twitter that are looking at polling trends, or Nate Silver, 538, whatever, then your day becomes dependent on what people say. Hey, great Harris news today in terms of the polling and all of that. She's strengthening this, or hey, it's slipping away here, blah, blah, blah. When the polls themselves, you don't know how much of the polling, even when she was up, accurately reflects what the voting electorate is going to do in a couple of weeks, right? So it's just hard to see the trends in it sometimes. I'm paying a little bit of attention to some of the early voting stuff in Nevada right now, and wherever you can get that information might give you a better sense of how motivated people need to be on Tuesday. But the most important thing that we can encourage people to do right now, particularly in places where this election is really going to be close, is to get out and vote. You have to vote. You must go and vote. You must vote to have the type of America that you want. I'll tell you this. If there's one thing I give the other side credit for, and when I say the other side, I'm not talking about the Republicans, right? I'm not talking about the Republicans. When I say the other side, I'm talking about a competing view of America. A view of America that, in my opinion, is anti-progress. A view of America that, in my opinion, wants to whitewash American history. A view of America that, in my opinion, is against women's bodily autonomy, that doesn't believe in a social safety net, that doesn't believe in the power of lower and middle class Americans. That's the other side to me. I'm not talking about D, R, whatever. That's the other side to me, which is clearly represented in this election. They don't lack any fight. They will fight to the teeth to dominate you. They will fight to restrict your voting rights. They will fight to take your bodily autonomy. They will fight to erase your history. They will fight to lower taxes for the highest 1% so that those people have a better life. They will fight for that. And they'll fight to the end. Will you fight to preserve or establish your American way of life? That's the question of America where we are right now. They're going to fight to the end to keep you in your place. Will you fight to get out of that? I don't know. We'll see. And you can't fight without voting. All your talk on the internet and every tweet and every retweet and every blah, blah, blah don't matter at all. You got to vote.
Yeah.
You must vote. None of it matters. All your bluster and all of that, you must vote, or else you're a bystander. I'm sorry. Count that as a rant, Donnie. I apologize, man. God damn.
No, that was no. I asked you a question. I asked you a question. You answered. It wasn't a rant. It was a good points.
Motivational speech. Dan Campbell-esque.
There you go.
You guys are okay. What's happening now is you guys are patronizing me, and that's okay. Like, yes, you are.
We're not
Rachel,
patronizing you.
You guys are patronizing me because I'm all fucking, I got all anxious about this, and that's okay. Rachel,
But
you don't like the Muppets, so I'm not listening to your bullshit.
You need to stop looking at the polls every single day because it is going to continue to make you anxious. I don't know how you do that. I could not. That would drive me crazy to look at the polling every single day and watch it go back and forth, or barely even change. That would drive me nuts.
How often do you look at the polls?
I'd probably say like once a week.
Once a week. That's healthy.
I mean, maybe every 10 days.
Which polls do you look at?
I look at 538.
Okay. Where's he live?
Huh?
Okay.
Wait, what?
Mm-hmm. So look, there's a story that might be floating around Donald Trump. Rachel, have you heard about this?
Yes, I saw it.
Why did you make that face?
No. Yes, I saw it. Keep going.
So there's a journalist named Mark Halpern that says he's been pitched a story that could end Donald Trump's campaign. At first, the story was being speaking about like Voldemort. Is that right, Ashley? Is that the guy you can't say his name? I don't know Harry.
Yep, that's him.
That's him, Voldemort.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was saying this big story. I'd heard whispers of this story like last week. And people kept talking about it. A couple of pro-MAGA Twitter sphere people came out and they were like, hey, just let you know, if something comes out about Trump, it's AI. The Democrats are trying to do AI and all of that. It's been like a big deal. Now it seems as if the alleged story in question is coming into form. Before we get to what might have happened, listen to Halpern talk about it.
These last 2 weeks are going to be filled with things like this. And I can tell you, without going into detail, that I've been pitched a story about Donald Trump now for about a week that, if true, would end his campaign. And there's all sorts of things like that flying around. I'm not the only one who's been pitched it.
Have you seen, Rachel's not sure, have you seen like what they're talking about? Have you heard the whispers?
Well, I like as in what was said, or just that there's this rumor, because I've heard the rumor, but I don't know the subject matter of the rumor, like what the whispers are. Do you?
Yes.
What is it?
All right.
Allegedly.
Now, we will say allegedly. We don't know. We can't say anything. We don't know. We weren't there. All of that stuff. All right. But since this has popped its head up, I guess people are saying that there could be video of Trump groping a young woman at a fundraiser, a donor's daughter.
Okay. Whether this is true, whatever the rumor is, right? The reason I roll my eyes, or the reason I'm just like, why are we even teasing this around? If it's so damaging to where, allegedly his campaign is trying to write a big check to get rid of it, or this is something that they can't come back from that would change everything. My frustration is, why are we sitting on this and holding on to this? If this shows, I mean, honestly, you don't need this video to see who Trump is and to understand the monster that he is or the fascist that he is. I don't understand why we're teasing it around in the media for a story and not just putting it out there. Like, I don't want to talk about what may be out there. I want them to show what's out there. And if there is video evidence of him groping a woman, then the public deserves to know about this. Why are we tiptoeing around it? If it's there and there's evidence, put it out there.
I don't really know. So I guess what I don't understand is if the video exists, and if there is video, to your point, if the story is being pitched, like what's the holdup?
What's the holdup?
Is someone trying to sell the video to the highest bidder, maybe? And if the highest bidder is the Trump campaign, then that's who the video would go to. I guess if he's being pitched the story, is he being pitched the story to work the story? Is he being pitched the video? Now, what would really be super duper typical is if there is a video of Donald Trump, a rich white man, doing something that could end his presidential prospects, which I'm not sure if it would or not.
That's what I'm trying.
Right. If there is a video of that and then they are allowed to buy that video to suppress it, which would, they say that the Hunter Biden story was election interference. So I wonder if that would count as election interference too, suppressing this story. I'll say this. Everyone knows what a catch and kill is, right? A catch and kill.
Yeah.
There were allegations that TMZ was acting in a catch and kill capacity for Trump, like while I was there. Don't know if that's true or not. I wasn't in any conversations around any Donald Trump stories. I know that they were spinning stories positively for Trump because of Harvey and Trump's relationship, but I never heard of anything in a catch and kill capacity as far as TMZ is concerned, and I honestly do not think that they would do that. But now that I think about it, I don't think that they would, depending on but people would say that. But there definitely was, like, the Inquirer was acting, allegations that they were acting in a catch and kill capacity for Trump. So the question is, would it be more lucrative for this person? And obviously, if you guys don't know, catch and kill is you get the story, you're an outlet or brand or media organization. You get the story so you can put it on ice and never have it come out. So the question is, for whomever is endeavoring into reporting this or checking up about it, is it more lucrative to you to get this video, get paid a lot of money for it, and then never let it see the light of day? And that's kind of the stuff that you're talking about when you're talking about presidential politics and high leverage conversations and who can get money from what.
Well, to your point.
Or if you think he's going to be president, just curry favor with him by not putting the video out and getting something on the backside for that.
All right, but we've been here before, right? So to your point, if the allegations are true, right? If the subject matter that you're referring to is what actually is in this video or what's out there, what the rumor is, we've been here. The Access Hollywood tape. And no, yes, that wasn't actual video of him acting, allegedly, groping a woman, but it was him talking about it in a very loose way that had no bearing on him becoming the president. It did not change people's minds. It was leaked. It was put out there to hopefully, they have been sitting on it for years, and it was put out there to try to sway people and show people who Donald Trump really is. Why would this be any different? At this point, he has been all the things. Don't even need to go down the laundry list of everything that Trump is. And it hasn't swayed people because people have either, as we said on the last podcast, chosen to ignore it or say he's not serious. He doesn't really mean that. Or they believe that he won't be making the decisions those people in his administration will, similar to what happened when he was president the last time. They're not going to be if this is I don't think that there is anything that Trump could do at this point that would sway people to not vote for him. I just don't. That's just where we are.
If Trump went on CNN right now and he was talking to Dana Bash or somebody and he pulled down his pants and he showed his dangler, do you think that Trump supporters would not vote for him?
I think they would still vote for him. I do.
If Trump right now was walking across the stage and the back of his pants were lighting up and he bent over and he had a light up butt plug in his butt and he goes, most incredible thing, I'll show it to you. And then he shows the butt plug in his butt to the people in the audience, it's a light up MAGA butt plug and he's selling it, would people still vote for him?
Yes.
If Trump,
there's no
just real quick, like if Trump was in one of these cities and he was chilling out with some black guys that he had speaking for him, some of these niggas, and he looked around at them and he said, yo, slat, these are my hardcore nigga G's right here. Would people still vote for him?
If you said the N-word?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
is there anything? Okay, give me something right now that Trump could do.
I told you.
You can't.
I think people would excuse it. Oh, like they would find some reason to excuse it as to, oh, he had a moment. Oh, he just, like, I don't know what they would say. But I don't think, if anything, they would either not vote for him. They would not move over to Kamala Harris. That's what I think.
If Chris Hansen did a sting and a dude drove all the way over to see some fucking minor and he had a motorcade with him the whole thing, and Chris Hansen comes in and he's like, you know, why'd you show up here with Mike's Hard Lemonade? Like, why? And Trump is like, I didn't. Lemonade. And he does the whole thing. And do you think that Trump supporters would still vote for him?
Yeah. They'd say it was a conspiracy theory. They'd say it's AI. They'd have a reason. They'd have a reason. They would. Think about it. Think of all the things that Trump's done. I mean, nothing to the extreme examples that you just gave, but there's always a reason as to why he does what he does.
We'll see. We'll see. He probably won't. I've noticed that there's a little softening of perspective about Diddy. Busta Rhymes talked a little bit about Diddy. And he says we need to reserve judgment for Diddy in terms of everything he's going through with the government. Don't jump the gun. Donnie?
Also would like for everyone to be mindful of the thirst and the urgency and the need to speak on the situation. I think a lot of times people don't realize how insensitive it could be to have opinions on things that you have no understanding of outside of what you're being told. I think that we kind of like confuse ourselves, prematurely pass judgment, and we're not realizing how much we can directly and indirectly affect everyone involved with our unwarranted opinions. So with that being said, I'm gonna reserve my opinions and I'm gonna wish the best for everyone involved. And I think that we really should take away what I'm saying. The one thing that we should take away from what I'm saying is everybody probably need to mind their damn business until the truth is undisputed.
You think that's softening? I don't think that's softening. I think that people have kind of held those beliefs from the beginning that Diddy started to be accused of all of these heinous actions. That's not what was not played in that clip, which is something that bothered me, is that, because he said a lot, actually. Shout out to Mona for getting that at Extra, for getting that interview. But he said that this isn't a hip hop situation. And I have to disagree with that. Because when we talk, when Cassie first filed the lawsuit and alleged all those things in the lawsuit, even before the video came out, one of the things that we talked about, and then we saw his place, Diddy's house is raided. One of the things we talked about is what Diddy meant to the culture, to the community, to Black people, to hip hop. We talked about, I mean, he is hip hop. He's what he meant as a businessman, as a rapper, as a producer, Bad Boy Records, the image, everything. So to separate what Diddy has done and say that this isn't hip hop, to me, that doesn't, or a hip hop situation doesn't make sense because of what Diddy represented to the culture. And everybody who is affiliated with or has been attached, Busta included, to Diddy. He is hip hop. So you can't separate him from it because what he represented was so a part of the culture. I mean, you even have Bow Wow talking about he misses Diddy's parties because there's a difference when Diddy's not around. He is hip hop. And I don't know. I mean, I understand Busta knows Diddy in a way that we don't. And so I think it's within him to kind of like soften, to use your words, or take up for, or tell people not to judge so quickly because he knows Diddy in a different way. But to say that this isn't a part of hip hop, people knew what Diddy was doing and protected him. People attended the parties. They may not have been involved to that level of what was happening at the parties, but people either hid it, ignored it, turned a blind eye, whatever it was, to Diddy's situation. Diddy wasn't able to do this alone. So to separate Diddy from this and say it's not a hip hop situation, I think is wrong by Busta. I have to disagree with that, amongst other things that he said as well.
So the reason why I say that it's a softening is because it's not a softening rhetorically, like meaning that, like, if you had asked Busta what he had thought about this X amount of months ago, he probably would have thought the same thing. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is there's a cultural softening in speaking on this at all. There's a thawing of that you're starting to see with people saying things like Bow Wow saying that, hey, we can feel Diddy's absence. There's a thawing that you're starting to see with, we're going to play some sound from DJ Envy here.
We haven't seen the evidence. I can say that it appears as though he's guilty, but I can't cast my judgment until I hear a lot more about it. But it doesn't look good for him.
I will say this, Diddy's a freaky nigga. Like freaky. Like freaky Friday, freaky Thursday, freaky Monday, freaky Wednesday. And there's nothing wrong with being a freaky person.
There's nothing wrong with being a freaky person.
So the fact that he has 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube just means he just like to get shit popping. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing illegal about that. Now, the one thing I will say that I don't like is I don't like how people, I mean, everybody's going to crack a joke. I mean, it is what it is. I don't like how people convict him before hearing all of the evidence.
Anybody who decides that they want to reserve judgment. If the court of law is your end all be all into whether or not someone is culturally acceptable or not. I mean, the video of him completely destroying Cassie in that hotel should have lost him the benefit of the doubt from anyone.
That coupled with him lying about it before, that it wasn't true.
Fact. The fact that you see him doing that to her inside of that hotel, right? Which in these conversations, and I'm not in any way criticizing the woman that did this interview because, but I'm like, in these conversations that I'm seeing with people that are talking about this stuff, I never see them say, well, when you're talking about what Diddy is capable of or what Diddy has done, the video evidence of him throwing that lady around as she is running and trying to escape, that never jumps into your mind as to what people should think or how they should view him, or like, what about that? Like, you're asking people not to rush to judgment. Like, they're not rushing to judgment. They have dozens and dozens of accounts and allegations, right, and a video of him doing something described to a T in Cassie's lawsuit. This is the thing, as far as the hip hop thing. Diddy being hip hop is very true. Very true. He was the height of hip hop aspiration for a whole generation of men. I don't know if that necessarily means that hip hop is responsible for what is going on with Diddy, right? Or if it's a hip hop thing. But let me tell you what I do think is going to happen. Because I'm not disagreeing with you. I think I look at it in a slightly different way. On the other side of this is ripe though for hip hop to fail on the back end, even if it's not hip hop culture that created everything that's swirling around Diddy and the abuse. Some people might argue that it is. But even if it's not, right? Even if it's not specific to hip hop culture, powerful men abusing women, sex trafficking, like Bill Cosby wasn't in hip hop, all of that stuff. Even if that stuff is not hip hop, what would be, to me, is for all of these guys to decide, because of very real skepticism that exists in other areas, like skepticism of the legal system, a feeling of being always criticized and excoriated by the press. Hey, they always talk about us like this because we black. They always talk about us like that because we rappers. The hip hop cops is always out for us. All of those things sometimes lead them into defending the indefensible, into saying, hey, like, this is the same thing that they was trying to do to whoever. This is the same thing that they was trying to do to whoever. This is the whole deal that's going on and all of that. And they look at it like everybody just reserved judgment. In this situation, the government is going to have their say. They are. Nobody on Twitter or in the world can mete out a punishment or render a verdict for Puff. No one can say innocent or guilty except for the government. However, people that want to believe that Diddy is a piece of shit have more than enough evidence. There's nothing to twiddle your thumbs about. There's nothing to wait on. Like, people that want to believe that Diddy is a piece of shit that has leveraged his power and who he is to hide abuse, they have enough evidence. They don't need any more evidence. Like that. So I don't know what conversation we're having about. Even when Envy says there's nothing wrong with being a freaky nigga, is there anything wrong with beating the shit out of a woman in a hotel as she tries to escape, then using your power and influence to get that video and take that video so nobody knows that you... Is there anything wrong with that? Is there anything wrong with... I mean, just there's enough evidence out there to where if you don't want to uphold and if you don't want to look up to this man in your culture, you already have it. And I don't understand what they're... Yeah.
That's what's so crazy about all this. It's almost as if, like, I know it's within us to kind of have a short-term memory and, you know, in regards to things happening, and you forget, and then you just think about what's in front of you as the news cycle keeps going. But I don't know how you forget what you saw in that video. That coupled with, like I said, he lied about it. He said it wasn't true. He denied. The video comes out, and then we see him put another video of, it was a bad time in my life. Then all the other stuff. I don't understand how you separate the two. So, you know, I still look at what Envy said, or Busta said, or Bow Wow said, or anybody else said, as they are softening the situation. They are looking past what's right in front of them as hardcore evidence and choosing to me, have a soft answer on, well, you know, we should reserve judgment, or we should just see how it all plays out in the system, or he's just freaky. No, he's a monster. And that's, in my opinion, the only way we should be talking about it.
The WNBA is opting out of the current collective bargaining agreement. They want more dough. They want dough.
Good.
They want dough. They want
Now's
dough.
the time to do it.
This is a defining moment. The world has evolved since 2020. We cannot afford to stand still. If we stay in this current agreement, we fall behind. This is a new era, and we are ready to lead transformational change. They've had a huge increase in viewership in the regular season, going up 170%, according to the union. The current CBA will cover the 2025 season, so the two sides have a year to negotiate a new agreement. There is a chance here that the WNBA goes on strike.
Yeah.
If they can't get the type of deal that they want. And I wonder what type of deal they should get. I don't know. I can't crunch the numbers and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, it's definitely time for the WNBA to see a new salary scale if the viewership is up. Now, I still don't know. Look, a lot of times people say that, and the viewership is up 170%. That does not necessarily mean that the league is profitable. That doesn't mean that. That doesn't mean that the league is profitable. I would have to look at numbers to see whether or not the league is profitable. Because remember, the TV deal and all of that stuff, you're breaking up money made. So there is an economic portion to this in terms of what the ladies will be entitled to. But the league is definitely trending in the right way.
Yeah, I mean, now's the time to do it. So, like, shout out to the players and the players union for deciding that they don't want to continue under this CBA. I think that you're right. We don't know the numbers and we can't crunch it out. And yeah, it has to make sense in that for that. But it also has to make sense that these women people are watching them in a way that they never have before. I have a beautiful picture of being at game 2 of the Liberty versus Lynx finals. Completely sold out, Barclays. Beautiful. All to watch women play basketball. If you're going to do this, you got to do it now. It just doesn't make sense for an Angel Reese to be putting out stories that she can't even pay her rent. It doesn't make sense that the number 1 pick is making approximately $75,000 from the league. I get the numbers. I get it has to make sense with everything, but that just doesn't add up. We have to find a way to pay these women more for these women to be able to survive. They're superstars. People are watching, and like, you can't just depend on brand deals.
But how?
I don't know.
So I'm asking you this though.
Like, you can make more in NIL. You can make more with it. So maybe with college.
In the college game. You gotta
figure this out.
The college game, which is in many ways more popular than the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So you're saying it can't happen. Why?
I said it can't?
So we have to find a way to pay these women more.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're deserving of it.
That has like no bearing in the situation, right?
I acknowledge the fact that it has to make sense in regards to, TV deal or whatever. Like, I get that. I get that the money has to make sense. They can't just say, sure, we're going to give everybody coming in $500,000. I get that it has to make sense. But the way people are consuming this, consuming basketball, women's basketball, we have to figure out a way to where they're not living check to check. I don't know what that answer is. Obviously, I'm not basing this off of anything other than my opinion, and I want to see the women make more. But if they're opting out of the current CBA, even they are saying that what the current deal doesn't make sense based on the increase in viewership and the way people are consuming the sport now.
Mm-hmm.
You want me, like,
I'm listening to you. What are you saying?
You as well said you don't know how it can happen. I'm agreeing with you. It obviously
the only thing I'm taking umbrage with is the word deserve. Deserve has literally zero place in this conversation.
It does if it's my opinion. If you're basing it off of numbers, then yeah, you're not going to use the word deserve. I'm saying based on the way people are consuming women's sports, $75,000 for the number 1 pick, where people are living check to check. They're deserving of more than that.
Why though?
Because of what I just said.
But what you just said,
want me to base this off of numbers. You literally started off talking about this whole situation that you don't have the numbers. I am agreeing with that. But I'm also saying that
if it's if it's a financial thing though, mm-hmm. So everything is based off of every single person in the world who makes money, mm-hmm. It's based off an equation. And that equation is most likely how much money your thing generates and then how valuable you are to your thing. That's worldwide. How much money? I'm
disagreeing with you.
Right. So then your deserve, right? Like your deserve. Like,
okay,
why
check
would you?
This out. So if we're doing numbers, if women make less than men, and I can't speak to specific numbers, but if two people are doing, if women are paid less than men, or in some jobs based on race, you're paid less, does that necessarily mean that you might be deserving of more money, but you're just not getting it? It's not an equation, right? Like, I guess it's in my head and I feel like I'm saying this wrong. My point is that you're saying in every situation, people are more, you can't say people are deserving of a certain pay. The equation has to work. Right? That's what you're saying.
So what you're talking about is discriminatory. So listen, if the WNBA generated $10 billion a year, and the first pick was still being paid $75,000, I would be like, well, obviously there's a huge problem. They're stealing from these women. That would be discriminatory. When we're talking about the wage gap in other places, we're talking about the same job that is being done in the same place in comparable situations, right? And so what we're talking about is for Black people or for women, that's discriminatory, right? And so being that that's the thing, like you're arguing, why are women being paid less? What's happening in those situations? In this situation, we're talking about one league that makes, and people are always comparing it to the NBA. We're talking about, and it's an uncomfortable conversation with a Black man.
I'm not comparing it to the NBA.
So it's one league is way more profitable than the other league, and so when we say that the women deserve more, only thing I ever ask is, where's that money going to come from?
Well, this is what I'll say. This CBA is based off of years ago, right? I don't know when
2020. 2020. Yeah.
The league in 2020 does not look like what the league looks like in 2024.
It does not.
All right. So if the $75,000 is based off of a league from 2020, then they obviously are going to make more, or deserve, let me go back to my word, to make more in 2024 if the league shows an increase in viewership, if people are consuming the league in a different way, that obviously means more money. So I don't think you can apply a 2020 standard to 2024 when all the numbers show it's evident that more people are watching this game, they're attending this game, they're consuming jerseys and products and everything related to the WNBA. It's not the same league as it was 4 years ago, which means you can't pay them the same. So that means that they're deserving of more money. You can at least say.
This is what I would say. I would say that the WNBA and the percentage of the revenue from the league itself, they should make sure that that is commensurate with what the men are making. And there is a wide gap in that, right? I'll also say, though, that when we're talking about all of this stuff, right, when we should always make sure that first of all, the most important thing, you guys know this for me, the most important thing you can do is not to advocate for the women in the WNBA. That's not the most important thing to do. What's the most important thing to do?
Consume it.
Watch and support the WNBA. Because if you're not watching and supporting the WNBA, but you're asking for the women to get more money, you're betraying them. You are. That's just the way that it goes. If you consume it, if you talk about it, my entire group chat, male group chat, was talking about nothing but WNBA basketball this year. I swear to God, people don't think that is true. Me and a bunch of other sort of high profile people, nothing about that is great for the league. It's great for the league that the league is outside of its diehard fan era, that it's in its casual consumer era, that there are storylines about the league that get people excited, incited. We were arguing about Caitlyn and Angel. We were arguing about Stewie versus Asia. Damn, I lost my goddamn pencil. That's my whole mojo. I lost my fucking pencil. Now I got to use this. We were arguing about that. It's great for the league. Push the league forward and all of that stuff. If you want them to get more and have more, consume the league, because they're not going to do it. They're not going to pay these women more because it's the socially responsible thing to do. And they're not going to pay them more because they're deserving. They are some of the most highly skilled basketball players in the world. They are. But deserve is not a component of it because it's a math equation of how they get paid. It's simply a math equation. And once and if the league is incredibly profitable and all of that stuff like that, and it could be now, once again, we don't have the numbers, have to look. But once that's a deal and the women are not being paid commensurate to what the men are making, I still don't think that they're getting the same revenue share that the men are getting. And that should definitely change in their CBA. But you're not going to be able to guilt or compel somebody into paying these women more like a lot of the NBA owners that own these WNBA teams, they're taking losses on this. Like they're taking losses on it. And some of them are breaking even or taking losses on NBA teams. But the worth of the team is so astronomical when you talk about something that's worth $2 billion that it's an asset worth holding on to. So like the only way to do this is to grow the league. In my opinion.
Van doesn't want the WNBA players to make it.
Oh my God, I watch it so much.
That's what I got from it. He doesn't think y'all deserve to
There's no such thing as deserve.
Prove it.
There's no such thing as deserve. They should.
He doesn't think he wants y'all to, he's got his foot on y'all's neck.
He
doesn't want y'all to make any more money.
Let me ask you a question. Who's the best lady soccer player in the world?
I don't know.
Okay, so how much money does that?
Soccer.
How much money does that lady deserve?
I don't know. I don't follow soccer. I don't know. I don't even know what the men make. I don't know.
Crazy.
I don't know.
That's crazy, man. See how you're not supporting women's soccer?
I just said I couldn't tell you men either. I don't watch the sport in general. Don't make it gender specific.
So I'm looking at something right now, and it says that in the 2024 season, I don't know if that is true, if this is necessarily true. This is from Sportspedia. It says that the WNBA will probably lose $40 million for the 2024 season.
He don't want y'all to win.
I'm not saying that.
You just said, I don't know if this is true, and then proceeded to read it.
I have to, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, the New York Post says this. The New York Post says this too. Fuck the New York Post, but it says this too. But I will say this though. That will change when the new TV deal comes in. So when the new TV deal comes in, and there should be a new TV deal, when the new TV deal comes in, all of that stuff will change. And when the new TV deal comes in, and there's a brand new TV deal, and more money is flowing into the league, the contracts should jump along with that. But it's very difficult to argue for more money in a distressed asset. That's all I'm saying. I'll be the bad guy. That's fine. You guys hate me. Rachel trying to put me on the spit with her conservative friends.
Do you think that Marvel removed Blade from the 2025 release schedule because of our conversation?
You did it. You fucked over Blade. You did. You fucked over Blade. Like you did it yourself.
People talking.
You fucked over Blade. Like you made Blade you called Blade an Uncle Tom, and then Marvel was like, take him right out of the schedule. And by the way, listen, y'all fucking by the way, sorry everybody, it's not Uncle Tom, it's Sambo. That's right, we should be right about that. Uncle Tom is the hero of that story. Forget about the fact that the colloquialism has been Uncle Tom for years and years and years. Sambo is the bad guy in that. So it's Sambo. But look, do you guys not, I'm gonna tell you like they told it like in Clueless. Are you bitches blind or something? Are you bitches blind? That's my favorite. Are you bitches blind or something? He's a cake boy. That's what they said in the movie. I wouldn't say that. But we were saying that Blade was an Uncle Tom because he was a vampire that fights vampires. That's it. That's what we weren't calling him a racial coon.
No, it had nothing to do.
Right.
We said he was turning against his own people. Vampires, guys, not black and white.
Oh, and by the way, Blade 2, where one of the ladies, she watches Blade take the serum, and she she calls Blade out for going against vampires, being a. She says you deny
Working
what
for
you
the
are.
man.
So the vampires looked at him like that too, and his
Yeah.
mom was bit. His mom was bit. That's very true. And so he's mad about the fact that his mom was bit. Facts. But at the same time, just to be honest with you, in the movie at least, we're not getting into comic stuff, but in the movie at least, Mama was with the vampires. Okay, she was doing it, whatever, man.
I'm so glad I could open your eyes to this. I saw this and obviously I thought they don't want to get it wrong. If the new movie comes out and he's totally different, y'all, you're welcome, guys. You're welcome.
See, this is my biggest problem with you, though. My biggest problem with you, just to let you know, Marvel has taken Blade off the 2025 release schedule after Rachel called him a coon. If you guys want a whole timeline of this and a breakdown of this, you're not going to get it here. You're going to get it on The Midnight Boys. Pew pew. Okay, we're going to
Did
do a
y'all
whole
talk about
breakdown
the
on
coon
this.
comment over there?
We're going to talk about it on there now. We haven't talked about it yet. Jomi hadn't even seen it. Like Jomi was over here a couple of nights ago, and Jomi said, "Oh my God!" Jomi was laughing his face off, and he's like, "We should
About
talk
what?
about this about you calling Blade a coon."
Oh,
But my most frustrating thing with you is that you have so many fresh and awesome perspectives on stuff like this, but you just don't watch it. Like I saw the wheels. That clip is so funny to me because I saw the wheels turning in your mind. Like immediately, you go, "He's a vampire," and then like right away, as soon as you said that, you go, "He's a vampire," and so you're like, "Why is he hunting other vampires if he's a vampire?" Like he's.
but I'm fresh eyes because I haven't seen it.
I want to do this podcast so bad. I want it to be called Fresh Eyes. I know, and I just want people to do reviews of movies they've never seen before.
I would be great. There's so many.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's start with The Long Walk Home. Is that what the Big Bird thing is?
No, it's Follow This Bird. Follow that bird. It has nothing to do with The Long Walk Home. That's
But
not the
wait,
name
didn't
of
you
the
say he was trying to find his way home? Don't
He
do
was.
me.
Well, he was. Big
Thank
Bird was
you.
trying to find his way. Donnie, Big Bird was trying to find his way back home, right?
I think so, to where the other big birds are. I think. It's been a minute.
There's more than one?
He's got a family.
He's got a whole race.
Yeah.
Of birds.
Ugh.
How can you
know how I
not
feel
fuck
about
with
birds.
Big Bird? What, nigga,
You know
what
how I feel
are you,
about
nigga, what
birds.
are you on, bruh? What
You know how I
like
feel about birds.
anyway.
Y'all don't think that big yellow goofy thing is disturbing?
Hell no, that's my nigga. That's my guy. If you put Follow That Bird on right now, I'll cry. Straight up. It's got songs, it's got celebrities, Big Bird trying to find his way home. Like, I'll cry. I will cry over the fucking bird. I love him. He's my guy. It's enough love against all these
That's
niggas.
That's your favorite Sesame Street character.
Nah, it's Kermit. But Big Bird's right there, though. I like Kermit because Kermit's in an abusive relationship, but yet he never gets out of his body. No, Kermit's being abused.
I like Miss Piggy.
I bet you do. Before we go, real quick. Before we go, real quick. Bronny James checks into an NBA game with his father. A lot of talk about whether or not this is an amazing thing or whether or not this is a choreographed.
Of course it's choreographed.
Do you think it's an amazing thing that Bronny James is
I think
playing
it's
with his father?
cool. It's historic. The shot of Bronny with his dad behind them in the Lakers jerseys. You can be the biggest LeBron hater you want. You can think that Bronny doesn't deserve to be in the league. That looked cool. And I lean to both of those things, towards those things. But I still looked at that and I thought this is cool to see them walk into the game together. That was a cool moment. But that's it. All right, now enough. Let's go ahead and let's try to let Bronny be the best player that he can be. Let's send him to the G League.
So this is what I'll say about it. The thing that I admire LeBron James for more than any basketball accomplishment that he has made, that he's achieved, shall I say, is the generational curses that he's broken.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, LeBron James is a Hall of Fame basketball player, but he's a Hall of World generational curse breaker. Like, it's almost as if he sat down and meticulously identified every generational curse that he had and decided that he was going to break it. He's also doing that for other people with some of the schools and some of the initiatives and stuff that he's doing. All of that is true. And the most moving thing about the Bronny situation is that it exemplifies the degree to which LeBron James has broken his generational curses. Shows it. It's right there for you to see. Right there. Took his son all the way to the NBA with him.
Yeah.
However, if I'm being real and not just riding dick, all that stuff is not just cool, it's amazing and beautiful. If I'm being real and not just riding dick, the reality is this. When I think of what I love and what I want for people, particularly Black people, is I want the influence of rich and powerful people to not be something that's hung over the heads of all the ordinary working Black people that I know. Once again, we talk a lot about income equality outside of our community, but we don't talk about the income inequality that exists inside of our community. And as much as that is a cool thing for LeBron James and his family, there is a cost when somebody rich and famous is able to game the system so that someone, and here's the key word, and this is the thing about Bronny, and I don't mean to be at all like rude or mean, someone who is undeserving is the key word. Undeserving. When I talk about legacy admissions at schools, and when I talk about all of these people that are getting these things from nepotism, if nepotism helps you get to where you are and you become a fucking dog, like nobody cares that Steph Curry's father was in the NBA. Steph Curry is a dog. Like nobody cares that Joaquin Phoenix is River Phoenix's little brother, or Kieran Culkin is Macaulay Culkin's little brother. Nobody cares about all of that, right? Those people are great at their craft.
Yeah.
But if you're not great at your craft, if you're not objectively not great at your craft, and you are there just because somebody rich and powerful wants you to be there, those are the worst parts of America. And that's just a fact. And if it's working against Black people, which it almost always will, or if it's working for Black people, it doesn't change the fact that that is the worst part of America and the part of America that they tell you doesn't exist. So if people look at that and they have a problem with it, like a lot of people are going to say you're hating on the Black man and his ability to do that, and I want that for my kids. You want your kids to get in places that they don't deserve to be, or you want them to have advantages that they shouldn't have. I'm not talking about people who work hard and deserving. So then essentially you don't want equality or equity. You want your side to be able to put their thumb on the scale. And that's just not the way I look at the world. So
that's a good point.
Like for as much as I look at the Bronny situation and I'm like, man, because to me, it just drives home how awesome LeBron's story is and how cohesive his family unit is, and all of that's amazing. But at the same time, the thing that's at work there is something that can't benefit the most amount of people. And that's kind of how I see the world.
Sure. For those wondering, Bronny played 3 minutes, went 0 for 2 from the field goal, and had 1 rebound.
Right. They also gave him like a $7 million contract.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not, once again, in time, Bronny might be a completely good pro. In time, he might be a good pro. But there's no way you can look at him right now and say that he deserves to be in the NBA.
No.
It's just,
And it's not hating to say that. I know people had a real big issue with Charles Barkley and Shaq talking about it after the game. They're analyzing it. Nothing they said was wrong.
All right. But I hope he does. I hope it does work out for him, and I hope that he is.
I do too.
Yeah, I hope that it does. I literally, seriously do. All right, we out of here. Take your thinking caps off, but do not stop learning. I'm Van Lathan Jr.
I'm Rachel and Lindsay.
Hi, guys.